and welcome to the first in a three-part series on EPA's Best Management Accounting and Tracking Tool, or BATT. This three-part series contains 3 videos. This first one is on history and application of the BATT. There are 2 other videos that dive deeper into the use and mechanics of the tool, as well as some real-world applications. This video will cover the following topics related to the BATT: the history of the tool, the primary application of the tool, and the extended application of the tool. I'll be using a lot of acronyms during the video, the most usually BMP and SCM. BMP stands for Best Management Practice, and SCM stands for Stormwater Control Measure. You can view these terms interchangeably, meaning actions taken both structural, like a rain garden, or non-structural, like street sweeping, where the goal is pollution reduction in stormwater. Another acronym I'll use quite a bit is TMDL, which stands for Total Maximum Daily Load, and is a scientific document produced by state agencies for impaired water bodies that assigns pollution reduction targets that, when met, will result in the water body meeting its intended uses, like fishing, swimming, and even drinking in some cases. In New England and across the country, nutrient pollution is the largest cause of water quality impairments, and improper or very little stormwater management is a major contributor of nutrient pollution to these water bodies. In response to that, in 2016 and 2017, EPA Region 1 released 2 new stormwater permits, named Municipal Separate Storm Sewer Permits, or MS4s, for communities in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. These permits were considered next-generation permits, or permits containing prescriptive requirements for municipalities to conduct in order to reduce nutrient and other pollution found in stormwater. New permits with prescriptive actions to reduce nutrient pollution meant that there needed to be a way for permit holders to report those actions to regulators and to be certain that those actions were actually reducing nutrients in stormwater. In Region 1, we made the decision to rely on an accounting scheme that permit holders could use to take credit for actions taken, instead of relying on sampling stormwater for assessment of BMP performance. This crediting and accounting needed to be scientifically sound, providing permit holders and regulators with the certainty that permit requirements were being met and that pollution was actually being reduced through those permit actions and permit compliance. The Stormwater Control Crediting Scheme in the 2 new MS4 permits lays out a comprehensive, scientifically sound way to credit pollution reduction through stormwater controls and account for pollution increases due to development. The BATT was created to make that crediting scheme more accessible for permit holders and for anyone wanting to accurately calculate impacts of stormwater controls on water quality. The tool allows for crediting of various size stormwater controls, even very small practices that may not have been credited in the past. We now understand that even small green infrastructure practice installations can have large impacts on pollution reduction. The BATT has the added bonus of being calibrated to New England rainfall patterns, making the calculations consistent across town boundaries and across watersheds. This gives users of the tool the ability to aggregate all BMPs being implemented in a watershed to assess whether TMDL or other water quality goals are being met. Simply put, the BATT provides certainty and consistency in stormwater pollution load reductions and increases across New England. The primary audience for the BATT was municipal permit holders in Massachusetts and New Hampshire that needed to report actions to EPA. The BATT took the crediting scheme in the 2 permits and made it accessible to permit holders in an electronic fashion. It provides a simple way to output a report to EPA. Included in the tool are calculations for pollution reductions of common green infrastructure practices, as well as credits for non-structural actions like street sweeping and catch basin cleaning. However, the application of the BATT can go beyond MS4 permit compliance reporting. There are many TMDLs across New England that deal with nutrient pollution, and each one of them has requirements for stormwater sources of nutrients. Oftentimes, these studies were conducted at different times with varying baseline nutrient load calculations using the data available. However, we know that stormwater treatment technologies are always evolving, and we need to rely on the latest scientifically sound understanding of stormwater treatment credits and the impacts that arise from development. BATT represents credits that can be used to estimate progress in meeting nutrient TMDL goals across the region, regardless of baseline pollutant load calculations contained in those TMDLs. This allows for consistent calculations that remain up to date on the scientific understanding of stormwater pollution today. Any discrepancies in load calculations between baseline numbers and calculations based on the BATT for implementation can be sorted out in the future through TMDL updates. Our focus is always on water quality improvements and using the latest technologies, and being consistent in the way we credit those technologies really matters. The latest version of the BATT has even more extended uses beyond the crediting for TMDL applications and MS4 permit compliance reporting. The latest version of the tool can be adapted to different climate regions throughout the country to produce regionally specific performance curves for green infrastructure. The BATT can also create curves for green infrastructure crediting for different climate scenarios to better understand the impacts that green infrastructure will have in the face of climate change. Local codes and ordinances now contain specific pollution reduction targets for new and redevelopment. The BATT provides an easy way for developers to understand the impact development is having on water quality and to accurately calculate pollution reduction credits they should receive for planned structural stormwater controls on the site. We've already seen municipalities require some BATT outputs as part of the site plan review process. This streamlines reporting for the town and makes a consistent crediting scheme available to developers throughout watersheds or states. Thank you for listening to the tutorial on the history and application of the BATT. For a deeper dive into the BATT, please see the other two informational videos on mechanics of the BATT and real-world applications.